Hello, these are my 3 tips on maintaining and growing in your Spanish language. Me being a second generation, Latino here in the United States, in California, Spanish is so common and it's so needed on a day-to-day basis. However, being that I was born in this country and one of my parents were as well, maintaining that Spanish language has been a challenge, and it's also been something that I, as a first generation, second generation, have had to maintain it and grow it. So these are my 3 tips on keeping your Spanish language alive and also growing in it. So number one is practice it as much as you can with whoever you can. And I'll give you an example. We have family members that speak Spanish. We have aunts, uncles, parents that speak Spanish many times. We have the person who helps us, or the person at the restaurant, or the person at the bank, or whoever, wherever you're going. A lot of times they speak Spanish. And if you notice that they have a Spanish accent, throw a Spanish word out there. And a lot of times they feel more comfortable speaking in Spanish. Practícalo lo más que puedas, en todos los momentos, en todas las interacciones que puedas. Si es ir a un restaurante y la persona notas que ellos tienen un acento, diles algo en español, a ver si prefieren hablar español, y es una manera de practicar. My second tip would be engulf yourself in everything Spanish. So, listen to Spanish music. If you got YouTube, Spotify, you better have YouTube. If you have Spotify, throw Spotify on Spanish tracks. If you need some track suggestions, I will list them, a few for you, a few different artists that I recommend. But look up Spanish music, and the cool thing is when you look up Spanish music, it takes you to another world. A lot of people don't know there's Spanish reggae. There's Spanish rap. There's Spanish everything you can think of. So look it up and listen to music in Spanish constantly. For me, I love music, so that's a big one for me. I'm always listening to music, and I'm most of the time Spanish music. So YouTube and Spotify, or whatever channel you listen to your music through, make sure that you're listening to Spanish. So trata de escuchar todo en español, la música, las noticias, your news. If you're listening to news, listen to it in Spanish, even if it's with subtitles. You're absorbing, you're learning. Netflix, any things you watch that you can listen to or look at, listen to them in Spanish. Trata de hacerlo todo, escuchar todo, la música, novelas, ¿qué serían? Las noticias. Trata de hacerlo todo en español, y así empiezas a también absorber más del lenguaje. Son cosas de que, aunque uno no lo está notando, vas aprendiendo otras palabritas, otro vocabulario. Now, I'm a curious person, so when I listen to something in Spanish, like in a song or a news article, I end up actually looking up that word if I don't understand it or know it, and then it adds to my database of Spanish, and then before you know it, it becomes part of your language. So anyways, that would be my tip number 2. And then my tip number 3 is how can I say this? Tip number 3 would be put yourself out there. Be willing to fail. And that goes for a lot of different things in life. But be willing to have somebody laugh at you. be willing to have somebody correct you, and don't take it as a insult to yourself. Take it as I'm improving. Okay, they corrected me, they laughed at me, whatever. I'm gonna remember that I said that incorrectly. Y número 3 sería, no debes de mi punto de vista, trata de hablar el español con personas y no estar avergonzado de si uno dice algo mal, si no lo dices exactamente como debe de ser, si no lo usaste bien. Yo creo que decirlo y practicar y que alguien te corrige está bien, no importa, porque uno va aprendiendo y así, de esa manera, trata de acordarte, ok, la última vez que lo dije así, lo dije mal. Y de esa manera vas aprendiendo. En vez de estar avergonzado de hablar el lenguaje, ponte dispuesto a poder decir, ok, si lo digo mal, está bien. Y si se burla de mí, está bien. Pero lo voy a decir de cualquier manera porque quiero practicar. Don't worry about what other people think. If they make fun of you, if they try and correct you, just speak Spanish. And that's the way that you can maintain your language. Those are my 3 tips on being born in this country, first generation or second generation. I don't know what I would be. My dad was born in Cuba. My mom was born in Texas. But her mom was born in Mexico. So I don't know what I would be, 1.5. But anyways, the point is that maintaining it. I happen to use Spanish every single day in my work as well, and what I do, my profession. However, there are many times that the customer is speaking English, and I notice that they have an accent, or maybe they mentioned a word or to somebody else in the conversation in Spanish, and then I just dive in Spanish and ask them, do you feel more comfortable speaking Spanish? And a lot of times they say yes, and sometimes they say either way, but that's a way of practicing. And don't worry if you're not 100% fluid in it. You can at least start, and say a few words and then switch it back. The only way we learn is by exposing ourselves and throwing ourselves out there. So those are my 3 tips. I'll come out with some more. And the biggest thing is be willing to learn, be willing to be made fun of. And who cares? Because you're improving your Spanish. And that's all that matters.